Hey everybody, how are you tonight? Welcome all of ya. How have you been? Hey Lucas, hey Chase, hey Andrew. Welcome. Get on in here, all of yous. Okay. Alright, I kind of like that. That's not a bad little design. Oh yeah, that's perfect. Wonderful. Ooh. So, Kane Pixels dropped a new thing last night, right at the end of the other stream. Turns out to not have been all that amazing or impactful, I think. I don't know, it could be wrong. I wonder what exactly it's about. It was a short video named I Remember. It sounds like it's relevant to the backrooms in some way, but I don't know. It doesn't feel... It feels out of place, you know, but I'm sure it has its specifics. I don't know. But hey, you know, at least we got something. We didn't have to wait 2 or 3 months. Hard to say, really. There we go. Alright. Hey Sam, hey Stone Cold Killer, hey Lodon, how are you all? Hi Gamerman, how are you? I'm alright, Lodon. I'm doing the usual, honestly. Not really much to say about it. Okay, I guess a little fountain like that is fine. I also kind of wanted to make little parks and stuff, too. Person earlier today mentioned it. It seemed like a good idea, so I wanted to make that happen. Just a little something like, no, probably 10 blocks that way. Yeah. Just kind of wanted to make it a little bit of a small plot. Yeah, I think this will work. But yeah, your prediction for the future backrooms is wind up killing one of the bacteria monsters. Oh, I hope they do. That would be so dope. I've got to wonder, how strong are they? Are the bacteria monsters really, like, dangerous? Or are they actually quite weak, but they're scary to, you know, go up against? Does it just, like, spook you? Or is it, like, genuinely dangerous? Like, are they like the Hulk? Or are they more like, I don't know, a lion or something charging at you? I'm hoping they do kill one of the bacteria monsters. That would be dope. They need a kind of, I don't know, something of a victory. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't feel like Async has had a win. And they desperately do need a win. But, like, I don't know precisely what that will bring about. Because, like, from what we've been seeing, it seems like there is going to be some sort of bad event, you know? Something awful will end up happening. And it'll probably involve real people. So it has always been here. Yeah, he's talking about the vaccines of the monsters. They can toss chairs, that's true. But these are backrooms chairs. So are they actually the same in terms of like weight and mass? Or are they actually just... I mean, a lion could probably toss a chair too if it really tried. I mean, it couldn't toss it quite in that way, but it can cause as much damage is what I mean. I don't know. I just feel like they're not actually as strong as they've been made up to be. They're still dangerous, don't get me wrong, but they're not like invincible, you know? I don't know. It doesn't feel like something's quite right. Who's to say, really? It could just be my imagination. I just don't get the feeling that they are quite what they've been made out to be. There's a trick here, in other words. But the bacteria finds a way into our world. I mean, everybody ponders that, but is it even possible? That's another question. Like, everybody's so intent on, can it happen? Or on, if it happens, rather, they've not stopped to ask, can it happen? I don't think it is. But that could be wrong. I don't know. All I know for sure is that it doesn't seem... Something doesn't seem right, you know? Something is odd, and it just... I can't quite grasp what that something might be. I almost feel like there's an intentionality to them, you know? The bacteria monsters are not just mindless brutes, or that there may be some deeper meaning to them. I don't know, because see, Kane in his in his only interview, he did say that he doesn't like to make good and evil, you know? You smell a rat? Yeah, I smell a rat too, but not for the reasons you might think. I feel like both sides are ignorant to one another's motives and abilities. And so we kind of have this... It's not quite an arms race, but like it's definitely... There's a race against the clock in some fashion. Because we've got a gap of time where async is present in the 90s, early 90s, and by the mid-90s they're not. So what gives? You know, there's an event that we've yet to see that's big. And I just don't know what that is. It feels strange. What was the inspiration behind Space Valkyria, or how did I come up with the design? Well, Cammy, you see, it's that's a long story. Basically, I had a temple that I built at the lands. It had, I don't know, it was pretty decent. It was inspired by a YouTuber named Zisto. And I was really, really into Mindcrack at the time. So I built it out of stone brick because that was all the materials I had on hand at the time. And I was like, yeah, this is really cool. I'm going to make it. And then as I was making the Sky Temple at the lands, I was like, yeah, this is a really cool idea. But what if I was doing it over the void? And so I decided to make an end base. But by that time, too many people were making end bases. And I thought, I'll hold off. And so years later, I actually made it. Only instead of building outward, I only built upward. And that was Space Valk 1. And then Space Valk 2 was more of an experimental, you know, trying to find my own unique style. And then after that, I combined Space Valk 1 and Space Valk 2, and that's what gave me Space Valk 3. Pretty much. That's a very sort of long and short of the story. And then a friend of mine said that you could build an entire city out here in the depths of the end without anybody knowing. And I took that to heart, and so I decided I was going to make a giant city. And here we are. That is more or less what I ended up doing. So yeah, you know, stick around. I got more city in me, I promise. Hey, Daily Dose, how are you? How is Ms. Roses? Perhaps bacteria does what bacteria does and cleanses. Cleanse? Bacteria don't cleanse. Bacteria colonize and eat. They're decomposers. They're, you know, little microorganisms that try to stave off other microorganisms from killing them. They're not, like, intelligent. They don't have an ulterior motive. Bacteria aren't trying to be, like, some sort of, I don't know. They're not trying to rule the world, you know? They're just existing. But I get the feeling the bacteria creatures are still somewhat human. That's the feeling that I get. They're not as bad as they've been made out to be. I don't know. But then again, I could be wrong. You never know. It just, something's not right here in how it's been presented to us. There's a theory where the bacteria are past victims. Oh yeah, that's definitely true. They're definitely past victims. But that's not what I'm saying. That's not the part that's getting me. The part that I find weird is the motivation, the ultimate motivation the bacteria have. Are they bad? Do they still have some of their human traits? I don't know. I can't answer that yet. I get the feeling that the bacteria are more important than we've been led to believe. They're not just mindless monsters roaming around doing whatever initially pops into their head. Oh, currently playing guitar. Okay. Oh, good. Enjoy your guitar, Roses. Hopefully you, I don't know, play well. Ah, damn it. I can't seem to get a good sized tree. I want an awesome kick-ass tree. Yo, what was always there in the last vid? I don't know. It's hard to say. I know the dude was talking about owning a house by the seaside, and then it slid into the ocean, probably because of a landslide or something. If that's the case, if we end up seeing some sort of an ocean seaside house in the backrooms, I think that confirms a theory that a lot of people have been having about how there are, like, memories from victims being expressed in the backrooms themselves. But I don't know if I can believe that yet. I feel like that's not 100% true. But then again, the connection with the painting has to be related. The painting that we saw in home video. Shit. There's something about that. And then Kane also said that there were a bunch of... he said this only in a community post, which was a little weird, but what can you do? It was very early on, so a lot of people missed it. He said that a bunch of paintings were found just sort of like along the way. I'm not even really sure where. I'm not even really sure where that's meant to be. Just somewhere in the back rooms. Hey, there we go. Okay. I think that looks good. I wanted to do a few more park type things where there's like hints of nature or like small refuge of nature, or you know, not necessarily like, oh wait, why did I do that? I needed this. Anyway, so yeah, it's definitely weird. There's a deeper thing, a deeper happening occurring here. Something to do with how people in the back rooms are converted. Yeah, they're converted into the bacteria monsters, but there's a subtlety to it that we do not yet know. And then obviously the green lights. That definitely plays a role. My personal theory on the lights is that is a synthesis of new backroom type stuff. So like new hallways, new doors. Places that go to other places. I gotta wonder, is there maybe some sort of... Ooh, what if the green lights occur when the backrooms has a new area that it has assimilated from memories, and it wants to express those nearby? It's an interesting idea. It could hold some merit. Who knows? And then... Well, actually, if that's the case, then I bet that farmhouse area in informational video, I bet there was an entity in the area. And that that employee nearly ran into it. At least that would make sense. I don't know, that may be a bit of a stretch. But yeah, but then how did the first bacteria come to be if they are past victims? It would have been bacteria transplanted from the marble. That's what a lot of people were guessing when the prototype video was shown off. The steel marble that was, or steel ball bearing, that was initially put in via the prototype machine. That would be the perfect introduction of a bacillus into the backrooms, or into the complex. Gotta remember to start calling it the complex. It would be a relatively innocuous source that seemingly is, you know, out of place. Bacteria are on top of everything. You wouldn't know it, because obviously you couldn't see it. It would be very sort of, I don't know. It would be convenient. There's a slight convenience to it. This convenience is... Basically, it's like opening Pandora's box. Let me try to organize my thoughts here for a sec. The convenience is that it's easy to write off the project and just say, oh, well, this thing is here. Whether or not they know that they introduced it into the place. I think they're going to try to write off the project and scrub it. And then not, like, go any farther. I don't know. I'm kind of grasping here. I'm not sure. Other than obviously that they introduced it by accident. I'm not sure what the overall purpose is other than to cause a conflict, because every story needs a conflict. And it could just be that there's no deeper meaning to the bacteria other than that they just had to be, there had to be an antagonist, you know? There had to be a monster or a thing to drive the plot forward, at least initially. I'm thinking that may be what it is. It is convenient to introduce a monster as setup to then defeat or, I don't know, something later on down the road. Or to act as justification for Async abandoning the facility or abandoning the complex later on down the road, where around 95, it doesn't seem like there's any trace of Async at all. So that may actually be what ends up happening. How am I still working on this, Zane? Because I want to. I don't really have any other explanation. I'm working on it because I want to. You got a problem with that, huh? Do you? You know nothing about the backrooms, but you love the passion to talk about it. Well, thank you so much, Lodon. The backrooms by Kane Pixels. You need to see it. It's really, really good. It's superbly written and very cryptic and, like, engaging. I can't really, like, put it any better. You just need to go see it. It is just so top tier. There's a really interesting sort of man versus nature versus himself kind of thing going on here. Like, I can't even properly describe what the complex is if you've not seen it. Like, it's an alien world, but it's an alien world that's, like, pretending to be Earth or Earth-like, but is obviously not. And it's really, really well done and so interesting. It has everybody on the edge of their seats. I'm hoping that whatever ends up becoming of the Backrooms overall, and I mean the project, that it ends up not being the last we see of Kane Pixels. Because he's a phenomenal director. He needs to be doing way more stuff. I would hope he doesn't, like, disappear for a year or two or something like that. I hope he has plans for after the Backrooms, so that his talent is not just sort of like, it doesn't just evaporate. Something like that. Oh, by the way, is the music too loud or is it perfectly fine? Man versus the Arcane. Yeah, it's something like that, Sam. There are elements of both. Man versus machine, or man versus nature, man versus himself, man versus machine. I guess man versus the unknowable or the arcane. What would a Cthulhu situation be? Man versus the omnipotent? Man versus the ununderstandable? The ungraspable? I don't know. Maybe accidentally with Prototype. Yeah, that seems to be it. Backrooms 3's got my attention. I know, it's like, it's super interesting. It's not the same boring tripe that I've seen for years and years and years. It's not cute girls doing cute things. It's not dumb shonen power fantasy. It's not, you know, it's a breath of fresh air. It's different. It's better than most things. And it's not, like, wasted. You know, it's not like a lot of one-shot type things where the creator had a really good idea and executed it quite well, but sucked at the follow-up. Like, how many... Bethier, you and I are very old. How many one-hit wonders were there in the 80s? and then the 90s. 80% of one-hit wonders are one-hit wonders because they couldn't figure out how to best capitalize on what they did. They didn't know how to make their thing more than just that one time. And I'll admit, I'm probably a one-hit wonder. Space Valk 3 is probably the best I've got. And when it's over, I don't really expect there to be very much else. But that said, I'm going to try anyway. However, people like Kane are very, very rare. Knowing how to make something is one thing, but then knowing how to capitalize on that something and not let the flame get snuffed out. That is a level of skill that very few people possess. And it's really like, it's something else. It's something else. I don't know how else to put it. I really wish that I had that level of skill, but I know I don't. So I'm not gonna like pretend that I do or lie to myself and convince myself that I'm better than I actually am. Like, I can throw blocks together, but that's it. I'm not about to sit here and make believe that I'm better than I really am. And that's fine. You know, you don't really have to be too much better than you are. But like, yeah, there's a, you have to admire someone who can make something and captivate an audience of millions in doing so. That is a phenomenal skill that is unteachable. You will either know how to do that already or you won't. And I'm not one of those. I could not do that. I could not do what Kane is doing. Even if I had the smarts to envision whatever story he has in his head. And from what I've heard of him talk, he's not that far off from me. But, like, he's done everything right thus far. Basically. And so I wish him the best. I want to see him do well. I like the fact that he's a very young creator that seems to know what the hell he's doing, what he wants and what he wants to be and how he wants to be. That's just so rare. It's such a breath of fresh air to see someone not have their head up their ass for a change. To not be so full of themselves or not be so haughty or stupid or foolish or something of that nature, you know? Oh shit. And it not be the result of a giant company or a corporation or something like that. Like it's an organic, self-starter type of event, you know? That is the beauty of it. Well, in the back rooms, they've been added at least 2 async researchers to successfully come back. Yeah, I hope more. But I have a nasty feeling those 2 are flukes. They are the lucky ones, and to expect that kind of luck again is... It ain't gonna happen. Those 2 got very lucky. Very, very few else will be so lucky. More backroom stuff. Yep. You better watch it, Ani. Watch the backrooms. You better. You'll be left in the dust. Time and space will leave you behind, and you'll be forever lost in the backrooms. The backrooms of the internet. Or something like that, I don't know. What are we talking about? Just Kane Pixels and the backrooms in general. Sorry, what's a fluke? You're not asking what a fluke is. Oh yeah, the fact that Kane Pixels has landed this phenomenon so successfully. That is the fluke. Well, maybe not a fluke. Maybe he knows what he's doing. Maybe he did just get lucky. I don't know. I'm not in his head. But the fact that Cain managed to make a phenomenon as widely popular as this and not screw it up, not get in his own way. The number of people who try to do stuff like this and get in their own way are just... Like I said, there are so many people who were one-hit wonders in the 80s and 90s. They made one good song, and that's great. But they could never follow up on that success. They didn't know how to capitalize on what they had created. And as far as I can tell, Cain is not one of them. And it's so refreshing to see someone who knows what the hell they're doing and hasn't fucked it up and isn't a big corporation, doesn't have an agenda, doesn't have a message, at least not a super politically charged message, and is just making something with the passion, skill, and talent that he has already. Passion, skill, and talent that he has seemingly cultivated on his own. And you don't have, at least not yet, a lot of dumb fuckery making it 10 times worse. I can only hope he goes on to continue to succeed like this. Because, this really restores your faith in the ability for people to, be... That good creations can occur, we have been in the longest, most annoying-ass drought of creativity for the last 20-something years. And it hurts. It really does. It's so painful that we can't seem to win for losing. And for a very brief change, it seems like that is finally improving. But I don't know. I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and say that everything is hunky-dory and that there's no room for error or possibility. But yeah, I don't know. It's late here, so goodbye. You watch your video. Okay. Take care, Lodon. Thanks for coming out. Jack is talking about, yes, his natural potential. That's exactly what I'm talking about, Gamu. You hit the nail on that head. Hit that nail on the head, Gamu. You go. Anyway, sorry, oh, I already read that. So if humans can cross back into the normal world, then shouldn't the bacteria be able to? There's nothing overtly stating that they can't. I guess, if anything, I'm just kind of hopeful that they won't. But, I could be very wrong. That could end up being what happens. All I know is, so far, for as many people have clipped into the backrooms as it seems, none of the bacteria monsters have yet clipped out. Because, like you said, if it's possible to go one way, then it's possible to go the other way. Well, then why haven't we seen more bacteria monsters? I mean, and that's another thing. That's another question I had that I don't think anybody can answer except maybe Cain. And that is, what are the population of bacteria monsters looking like? How many of these fuckers are there? What is their distribution? Are they all close to each other? Are they all widespread? Because every single found footage thing we've seen thus far has had a run-in with them. With the exception of the employee from information video. He's the only one who did not overtly run into a bacteria monster. And that's probably for the best. But, it begs the question, what are we looking at in terms of distribution? How widespread are these things? Are they really, super common? Or are they very, very rare? And that everybody who died and became a bacteria monster didn't get to run into one because there wasn't one to run into. I don't know. Like that poor kid that they found in what was it, missing persons? The poor kid whose body they found and then did an autopsy on. Was he running around being chased the entire time, or did he just wander around aimlessly till he fell over dead of exhaustion or what have you, or malnourishment or what have you? So yeah, I don't know. Is it just a matter of bacteria monsters go dormant after a time because there's just not enough stuff in the back rooms to make them constantly be active, and thus they wouldn't be in a place to get NoClip back into reality? And thus would never be able to get back because they're never active enough, unless they're overtly chasing someone. They're never just wandering around all that often, and thus could get zapped back, you know, or warped back, or whatever mechanism it is that things seem to be getting in and getting out, you know. Oh shit, I forgot about XCC2. Thank you, Riolani. I'm sorry. The monsters are probably tied to the complex. If they step out, they die, just like it'd take a deep sea fish. That's a possibility as well. One that I've already kind of thought about. They're not capable of living outside the complex. They're not capable of existing outside the complex. If they did, they, like you said, like a deep sea fish, they just fall apart because their structure is not conducive to the real world. I kind of hope that's the case, but who really knows? Found footage 2, we saw one get up from a resting state. Yeah, that's what made me think they are all in a dormant stasis of some kind. Just because that's advantageous. They wouldn't naturally want to wander around aimlessly forever and ever and ever. They would eventually want to, like, wait out, I don't know, some amount of time until a person comes by. Who knows? Who knows? May not ever get an answer to that. But then again, we could get an answer in the next video. Who the hell knows? I can't wait. This has me on the edge of my seat. News video feels so ominous. Yeah. That's also something interesting. It doesn't seem terribly relevant right now, but it definitely feels like the calm before the storm. Like, you just know. You just know shit's about to hit the fan in a big way, but you don't know. You don't know how the fan is gonna get hit. And how can you until it happens, you know? And I guess that's a good thing, because obviously, you know, you always leave your audience wanting more. And Kane is really good at that. Really, really, really good at always leave your audience wanting more. He is a goddamn master at it. Okay, I don't have any flowers. Let's put some flowers in here. Okay, I want to kind of get a good variety of just about everything you can have. Hey Bloopla, how are you? Maybe the stuff in the air that makes people cough lets them live. And it's just like, yeah, it's possible. Watch Annihilation if it's free. What is Annihilation? I've never heard of it, Stone Cold Killer. Did I see your message about the reality collapsing in on itself? When reality collapses in on itself in the back rooms, you'd just be sipping a cup of iced tea in the Bahamas enjoying the chaos. Yeah, sure, I guess. If it ends up lasting that long, this series may not last much longer. It could last a long time. I don't know for sure. I'm not saying it's going to be over anytime soon, but just, you know, it could find a resolution for in a pretty quick way, in a surprising way. Who really knows? I just want to know what the next episodes are going to be like. You know, I just want to see them. I just want everything to just like get here. You know, I haven't anticipated something like this in a long ass time. It feels nice having something to look forward to. Should copy-paste this park afterward across it just to fill up more empty space? Maybe. But I kind of wanted to make more unique looking parks. Like this. Instead of like making the same 2 or 3. For the topiaries it's fine because they're unique enough. But they're also meant to be uniform, you know? Like a hedgerow is all meant to be totally uniform. So it wouldn't make sense to have it be vastly different everywhere. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, how big of a circle can I get away with here? Oh, too big. Oh, that's much better. And I want each one of them to be unique. Like, totally unique. I don't want to have too much sameness to things that are, like, meant to be interesting, I guess. I don't know. The parks are meant to be very dynamic and different in my head. I wouldn't want every single district to have like the exact same stuff in it. So yeah, variety is definitely an essential. Okay. Obviously we put one in the center. Flop movie but interesting. Okay. Trippy, and it'll make you think of the back rooms at parts of like the bear part pool scenes, others. It's trippy weird. Okay. How did Kane Pixel's creativity have not exhausted already? That's the thing. When you're a creative person, you find ways to, like, keep the juices flowing, you know? It's definitely a matter of, like, inertia. How if you stop, you find yourself stagnating and you lose your edge. It's a lot easier when you're younger. But especially if you get older, you don't want to, like, quit, you know? That's kind of why I keep doing Space Valk 3 streams, because if I was just all by myself on 2B2T, I might have quit doing it by now. Just because I think I would have run out of stuff to do. And not because I couldn't do stuff, but because my mind would have kind of run dry, as it were. And that's a terrible situation. But, you know, that happens. There were parts, I will admit, there were a lot of parts around a year ago where I was genuinely worried about what my next move would be, simply because I didn't know what the hell to do. I was like, okay, well, what do I make next on Space Valk 3? Oh god, I don't know. Oh man, I don't know. I better come up with something. And then gradually I just started coming up with more and more somethings. So right here. And that's fine. It's definitely an inertia thing. If you're not trying to do something, you will eventually lose that creative edge. And so I kind of hope Kane never slows down, because he's obviously very good at what he does. And so yeah, if he is anywhere, if he ends up doing anything else, I hope he goes at it as hard as he is currently going at it at the backrooms, you know. I don't wish for him to slow down at all. And best of luck to him.